If you guys go see The Sound of Freedom, it's time we put an end to this.
Oh, wow. Listen to this. The Sound of Freedom, the movie. Me and my wife and our children, we went to see it, and we have a video here. I'm going to talk about that. Did you know that was conspiracy theory? Conspiracy theory. It's conspiracy theory. The Sound of Freedom is conspiracy. These people are crazy, yo. They say this stuff is conspiracy theory. Like, this makes no sense to me whatsoever. All right, let's take a listen to this video.
Guardian has called The Sound of Freedom a QAnon-adjacent thriller movie. There are no political undertones in this movie. I went and watched it yesterday. The article goes on to complain about the fact that Tim Ballard says God's children are not for sale. I'm not religious, but if your justification for running yourself into harm's way, going to Colombia and freeing child sex slaves is that God's children aren't for sale, who cares? That's good enough reason for me. But the movie isn't about God. It's not about politics. It's about human trafficking, which is the fastest growing criminal enterprise in this country. So why is The Guardian trying to dissuade people from watching this movie?
Well, there could be several reasons for that. And we're going to look at a number of videos from TikToks where I think there was another lady who did an excellent job as well. I had actually saved hers. All right, here is another video of a lady who walked out of there.
So, don't know if any one of you have already been to see The Sound of Freedom, but my friends and I just walked out. Hi. And we are curious what your experiences were in the movie theater, because we pre-ordered our tickets, paid for them, they were claimed, got the link sent, and this is an AMC theater in Pineville, North Carolina. Some point today, the tickets got refunded to my friend and we couldn't figure out why. So we come anyways to the theater after dinner and they're like, oh, well, we refunded all the tickets because there's no air conditioning in our theaters.
Wow.
Okay, whatever, we don't care. Are you still showing it? Yeah, you can still watch it. So we get to thinking, why did they not send out a notice in the email saying, hey, we refunded your tickets because there's no air conditioning? And we just are curious why didn't they let us know? There was no one in that theater. There was us four and 4 other people, 8 people in the theater on a Friday night. There was air conditioning in the lobby. There was air conditioning in the hallways. There was air conditioning in the bathrooms, not the theaters. They don't have the bartender or anything in the theater. I smell something stinky, and I think it's shit.
I agree with you. Let's look at some of the words trying to stop the movie, The Truth. I heard they're trying to get it taken out of viewing. Yeah. AMC in Texas was also with no AC. Yeah, all of a sudden the AC is not working in these. Yeah, why do you think that is? Why do you think all of a sudden this movie is so controversial that people have a hard time accepting the fact that this movie might be true? Wow.
So Chase and I went to see The Sound of Freedom the other day. Now, first of all, it was not what I was expecting. I thought it would be more documentary style. It was, in fact, a feature film depicting the exploits of Tim Ballard in South America. Tim Ballard, of course, being a seasoned expert in the realm of human and child trafficking. He's been on record. He's even spoken to Donald Trump about what he's seen, what happens to these kids, even certain things that are in the bloodstream and people consume. Now, it is a fact that right now, as you are watching this video, there are millions of people across the globe in slavery right now, either for labor or other purposes. It's also a fact that operations like the one depicted in this film happen pretty regularly, not just abroad, but right here on American soil as well. If you follow this kind of thing, you know what I'm talking about. Stories like this happen every single day. Keep that in mind when you watch the last clip. Now, the film itself was very good, and right from the very beginning, they set the tone. The audience understood what was happening while the characters did not. But what was just as interesting as the film itself was the mainstream media's reception of the film. Washington Post talking about QAnon, a low-budget film about sex trafficking. The Guardian, a QAnon-adjacent thriller seducing America. And my personal favorite was Rolling Stone, a superhero movie for dads with brainworms. They even went as far as to imply that it was not based on a true story. And it gets even worse than that. And some people might ask the question...
It's ridiculous because there's like they have movies of the recording of the Underground Railroad and what happened in the island. And it's crazy, like the media is protecting the character of these, so let's say, child traffickers. I wonder if media is probably getting paid from some of these people. I wonder. Let's keep going.
Why would anybody want to draw attention away from that? Why would you want to take awareness away from such a terrible thing that's happening? And the ugly truth about it all is that if you follow this kind of stuff, you don't wonder why. One of my favorite lines from the film, when Jim Caviezel playing Tim Ballard was at a low point, and he was explaining that most normal everyday people don't want to know about this. It's just too ugly for polite conversation. And unfortunately, it's not that the people at Rolling Stone or The Guardian or The Washington Post or CNN don't want to know about these things. It's that they don't want you to know about these things.
Exactly.
And if you're watching this video, I'm sure you know exactly why.
Because he doesn't really hide his association with this.
That's the video right there. Let me play that video from Black Conservative Perspective. Thank you, TikTokers. You guys do serve a purpose. Not a big fan of TikTok, but every now and then they come out with some common sense. All right, here it is.
Familiar with him because he doesn't really hide his association with this real wild plot that involves, you know, drinking the blood of children and things like that.
No, he doesn't hide it at all. And you have a lot of people who are in this world of QAnon who say, oh, they don't know what that is. They've never heard of it. They're just asking questions. With somebody like Jim Caviezel, he is openly embracing it. He's openly using its catchphrases and its concepts. He's speaking at QAnon conventions. And this film is being marketed to either specific QAnon believers or to people who believe all of the same tenets as QAnon, but claim they don't know what it is.
Yeah, child trafficking. A story about child trafficking and how pervasive of a thing it is. That's QAnon conspiracy theory. Okay. You guys are stupid.
And The Sound of Freedom does focus on a real issue of sex trafficking. But that theme, it's sort of like that kernel of truth that feeds the QAnon conspiracy theory. Tell us how...
Yeah, they're doing that. What do you call that again? That kayfabe kind of thing, where they take part of the truth and they acknowledge that there is some truth to it, and then they're going to mix it with something that is not truth, right? They're going to put a little bit of poison and hoping that people don't drink it, don't accept it. That's what they're about to do. Yeah, there is a real issue, but it's just that the way they're projecting this thing is that it's QAnon conspiracy theory. No, maybe it's a real issue that needs to be talked about. Maybe there's no conspiracy theory at all. It seems to me a lot of what they call conspiracy theory today, and don't get me wrong, there are some true conspiracy stuff out there that are unbelievable, but not everything that you guys call conspiracy theory is a lie. A lot of time it is the truth. You know, remember when they were saying in the COVID-19, the pandemic and everything, and how they were saying the lab leak was conspiracy theory. They were saying that was, and then turned out to be that was the case. And, you know, when Mr. Trump was saying it is false, that it's a hoax what they doing to him with the election and everything, and it turns out to be, that wasn't conspiracy theory. It turns out to be the truth. And there were many things that they said that were conspiracy theory. It turned out to be truth. Now you're calling this one conspiracy theory as well. It's like, I went to see the movie, man. I went to the place. I saw it with my eyes. Here I am right here with my family talking about this. Our daughter commented on it. Our son was with us.
Slavery is as prevalent than ever before. And I wish more people would talk about this slavery.
We know what's going on. We're asking questions, but no. These guys, they have a job to do. They have a job to protect those that are actually carrying out the dirty deeds, but it's okay.
That feeds the QAnon conspiracy theory.
Yeah,
tell us how those two things work together.
Sure. And the most durable and the most believable conspiracy theories are not entirely false. There's something in them that is true and the rest of it is false. But the believers point to the one true thing and they say, oh, you don't believe that this particular thing is true. In terms of child trafficking, we know trafficking is real. We know it has real victims. No one is denying that. But these films are created out of moral panics.
Give us a break. You gaslighting people. You gaslighting us.
Created out of bogus statistics. They're created out of
Bogus statistics? $150 billion industry? We are the #1 consumers of child trafficking. The borders being left open is one of the ways through which they're able to do this. A lot of these Mexican children, when they come in through the borders, not having papers, they have nowhere protecting themselves. Yeah, that's conspiracy theory, okay? Yeah. Keep gaslighting the people.
out of fear. And with something like Sound of Freedom, it specifically is looking at QAnon concepts of these child trafficking rings that are run by the high-level elites and only people like Tim Ballard and only
They actually think people are going to believe their nonsense, huh?
people like Jim Caviezel, and by extension, only people like the ticket buyer can help bring these trafficking rings down. So there's a very participatory element. You're not just going to see a movie, you're
This is propaganda news, guys.
just killing 2 hours on a hot day. You are helping bring down these pedophile rings and save children. Now, it's not true.
That is true. You guys are so sad. No wonder why your ratings are so bad. Here I am with my wife and children. Even my daughter loves it. At first, she was all sad. She didn't want to go to the movie. By the time she came out, she was excited to know and to hear that I was part of something bigger than myself and I was making a change.
The Sound of Freedom.
I'm not sure if you could hear it.
Very inspirational. I felt very
She's too much.
and
She was inspired by it. That's the point. Okay.
Much worse than that.
You don't need to hear more about me. You deal with me long enough here.
dedication and determination of that man. What was his actual name? Do you remember? Tim. The dedication that he had to not giving up, the perseverance, that thing that was in
She's-
him, that said no matter what, he left his family for a certain time, he left his job, he had all odds.
Anyway, guys, I put a link in the description below. You could go listen to that. We went on and talked a little bit about that. Again, The Sound of Freedom is a movie that you need to see. There is no conspiracy theory in there. Don't let the media gaslight you. That's kind of what they do. And I think part of the reason why they might be doing that is maybe because they work for the system that is partly responsible for this crime. That's a possibility. And who else knows what else is going on with that mess? And much more could be happening. I don't have all the details and understanding, but I'm just knowing that The Sound of Freedom is not conspiracy theory. We went to see it with these eyes. We went to pay for it with these monies. We sat down and enjoyed it as a family, and we realized this stuff is serious. It's not a joke. It's not conspiracy theory. We're talking about the lives of the children here who's been neglected. This is a business. This is a huge business, and the lives of the innocents are under attack. They are being abused, taken advantage of, and it's not something to smile about anymore. And people who are covering up this wickedness, shame on you. Shame on you. This is what Isaiah speaks about when we live in a society today, everything that is good, they call evil, and everything that is evil, they call in good. So if you go watch The Sound of Freedom and you say that is an evil movie, I'm going to say you are an evil person because something is wrong with you. Woe unto them that call evil good and good evil, that put darkness for light and light for darkness, that put bitter for sweet and sweet for bitter. That is wickedness to do that. If something is good, give it some godly respect. And even the Bible tells us that we need to think on the things that are good, pure, lovely, and of good report. It says, finally, my brethren, whatsoever things are true, whatsoever things are honest, whatsoever things are just, whatsoever things are pure, whatsoever things are lovely, whatsoever things are of good report. If there be any virtue and if there be any praise, think on these things, meditate on these things. It is very significant to give these things some serious thoughts because it is going on. Sounds of Freedom gives us a picture of what is going on in today's culture. This is the new modern slavery. This is slavery at its finest, but it's sex slave. Okay? I think some of these people, they're proving themselves to be part of the system. You see, like people like CNN and all these people that are pushing against the movie, they're telling you if slavery, as we know it today, the slaving of black people, if that media network existed then, they will have approved slavery. They will have told you speaking against slavery is conspiracy theory. They will have told you the slaves have no rights. They will have told you this was okay. How do I know that? They might say we acknowledge it exists, but they will have found a reason to tell you it is perfectly okay. Now, they're doing the same thing today. They're kind of saying the same thing. Yeah, we realize child trafficking is a real problem. Yeah, Jeffrey Epstein's island and all that stuff, right? They won't touch that with a 10-foot pole. And they know there was wickedness going on there. And there's some names we just can't say. Like nobody knows. Like we don't know. Like we don't know. Like we don't know you guys were doing that. Like we do know. Like what else? Yeah, he committed suicide. Okay. Whatever you say. Like we stupid enough to believe you. Okay. Go ahead with your propaganda. We're going to believe you. So, and again, it tells me that these type of propaganda news that are gaslighting the people, they don't really care about children. They care about their narrative, and shame on them. Shame on you. And I hope God curse your channel and you stop growing and you lose popularity because you promote wickedness, and that which is good you call evil. Anyway, I hope the curse of God falls on you for all your propagandas and lies and deception. We're talking about the lives of children here. Stop playing games. Wickedness. Anyway, have a good one. Bye.